You want to put us back to how do you do it? You can just drag.
You just drag.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yep.
great. Okay.
You've always had that control. This is great.
I don't know.
Feel
Yeah,
feel
I
free
love
to
it.
move things around while we're
Yeah.
talking. It's
I
great.
love it. Okay,
It's
good.
great.
We're gonna post on. Oh,
Where
what
the-
is this? Oh, richer experience. I got some kind of Grammarly notice too. Everything's new. Everything's showing up new. I'm gonna use my text expander to
I
post.
know. I gotta make one.
Yeah, join us as we live stream Business Podcast now. One episode just week. Dave and Shannon. That's me. Have been traveling. So they are. Oh, we are. Oh, that sounds silly. I'm not going to do that. Okay. What are we talking about? We're talking about what's your intro topic?
Using your business brain in all aspects of your life. It's a very specific example of using your business brain.
Plus.
And perhaps the value to you of teaching others to use their business brains.
The value to you, to the listener, or to me.
To me. Yeah, right.
to you.
The value to me, but
oh, yeah. Okay.
teaching other people, the people around you, to use their business brains. So it doesn't always have to fall to you.
I like
I
it.
think that, I have some specific
A great example.
stuff to share, but
That's cool.
and some advice for people too.
That's good. You went to Disney World, right?
I did.
How was that?
Yep.
It sounds
It
like
was
chaos
awesome.
to me, but you had a great time?
So, yeah. We knew
Yes.
this trip was not about going to Disney World primarily.
Okay.
It was my father-in-law's 80th birthday.
Oh, that's right. Got it.
And he wanted to take the whole family to Disney,
Awesome.
which meant three of his grandchildren are under the age of 5. So,
Okay.
like, we knew already that this trip's not going to be like what it would be if like we went with our kids who are in their 20s. You know,
yes.
it's like
Yes,
it,
yes.
there's going to be moments like this. And going in with that mindset was very smart.
That is smart.
because-
I remember you talked about that before you left because I
Yeah.
questioned going to Disney World and you said, oh,
Right.
it's different. Yeah.
But we did, the three of us, Lisa, my son Lucas, and I planned we stayed an extra day,
Okay.
which largely was driven by me not being able to get down there right away because I had some gigs scheduled before this thing came in that I couldn't move.
Got you.
And it was like, well, if I'm going to bother to go down, I don't want to just be there for like 40 hours. I want to add a day to this. And so we did.
Okay.
And the three of us were able to be super efficient and do all the things we wanted. We actually hit 3 parks on Tuesday, which is,
Oh, wow.
dude.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Chaos,
but it
but
was
fun,
It
right?
was chaos, but it was super manageable. And I'm going to talk
Yeah.
about that's kind of part of what I'm going to talk
Okay,
about. here
good.
is
Because
how
I
that
think
was
you're
super
right. If you're
manageable.
with the right small group of people or just
Yep.
your spouse, you can really knock it out, right?
you can totally it like without
Yeah.
without even really. I mean, look, we got to the park early. Like we got to one of the parks at 7:30 in the morning when they opened, but we had a plan and we didn't wait in a single line all day. And I'll talk about that. I'm going to share
perfect.
why that worked on the show. Yep.
Okay. That sounds
Yep.
great. Yeah. And we had my daughters got married on
Yeah,
last
congratulations.
Saturday. Thank you so much. It was terrific.
Woo.
So only I'm obviously I'm biased, but I think it was I'll just say one of the best weddings I've ever been to.
Great.
And the way I know this is true is the wedding started at 4:00 and people were still there at 2 a.m. And
That's excellent.
yeah, and the best part about this was the venue that they chose. It was a big farm. I've talked about this before. We stayed on the farm, big farmhouse.
Sure.
And then they had a big barn, and then across another big open kind of barn they called a pavilion, where that was the bar. And then a trail kind of behind that, there was a big area for a bonfire. And so it was really unique that, like, after dinner, sometimes a lot of people go back to their tables and kind of hang out and chat.
Yes.
It was because there was this venue and this other opening pavilion out there. People migrated a lot more. And then they lit this fire at about 10 o'clock, which causes everybody, you know what I think about campfires, because it gets everybody to stay late.
Yep.
And I noticed that I'd say, about 10 o'clock, there was about 70% of the people were still there.
Yeah.
And by midnight, I got down to about half the group
initial crowd
hanging out there. And then still like 2 a.m. was when we finally kind of ushered ourselves back to the farmhouse and everything. But man, it was amazing. I danced like a son of a gun, and it was great. Had a great time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really
fun. My brother-in-law, when he got married, the one now with the 3 kids.
Yeah.
When they got married a few years ago, and they have 3 kids under the age of 5, which is,
gosh,
dude. Yep. They did it out on the Hamptons, but it wasn't a farmhouse, but it was a similar kind of setup where there was space for people to roam, and there were different buildings, and the campfire thing certainly was a part of what kept people there late. They did that same kind of deal. It was right on the water, right on Long Island Sound. It was gorgeous. Yeah. But you're right. The campfire gets people to stay late. It happens when we light our fire pit here at the house.
Same with us. I love it.
It's great. People just don't leave. They're like, oh, we're going to go. I'm like, oh, okay, well, come on out. I'm going to light the fire, and we can, we'll chat and leave when you want. We're going to hang all night.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of, then 3 more beers later, and it's like,
perfect.
Okay.
It's such a great hack on.
Yes.
Because the tendency, people, 9, 10 o'clock.
Dinner's over. Gotta go.
We'll kind of go. You're like, oh, maybe.
Maybe you will. Right. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. So I'm ready to start anytime you are.
Same.
Let's
see if I can remember how to do this.
How to start the show.
Being at Disney World for 3 days or whatever it was. Okay. Yep. Let's do this. I'm going to do that. That's really what I want. This is correct.
No,
it's not correct.
It's not correct. Friday, the 4th.
Oh, are we releasing this tomorrow? Is that the idea?
Yeah, let's release this tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll just do the one episode since we've both been traveling so much, and then we'll push it out tomorrow. I think
so that'll be 587 for Friday, October 4th. Got it.
Perfect.
All right. Hang on, though. I need to do this.
Okay.
I need to do this.
Terrific.
I should change. This is going to be...
Yeah, if you're just joining us, normally we record 2 episodes per week. We normally record on Tuesdays, and then we push out 1 show Wednesday, 1 show on Friday. But since we were both traveling, we decided to... none of us were here last week, actually. We recorded 4 episodes the week before. It was complicated, but it worked out great. And so now we're doing 1 episode this week, just Friday. The key to great podcast is consistency. That's why we're on episode 587.
587.
We're
you
10 years into this. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Love it.
It's amazing.
Almost at 600. Can't wait.
We will hit 600 very soon. Mm-hmm. Probably not by the end of the year. Oh, no, definitely by the end of the year. Because we don't do 1 a week. We do 2. No, 2. This week we do 1 a week. But yeah. All right. Great. Then there is that. This here, that there. Okay. Why not? Let's make the magic happen.
Okay.
Business Brain, episode 587 for Casual Friday, October 4th, National Body Language Day, 2024. Folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where we take an idea or 3, we crunch it, we analyze it, we dissect it, we use it to help tune our business brains collectively. Each of us, we're tuning our business brains, you're tuning your business brains. We do it together each and every episode. Back here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And back here out in Lafayette, California, I'm Shannon Jean.
Yeah, we had some traveling, man.
We did. It was good. I traveled with my lovely wife and my 96-year-old mother.
Amazing.
So it was, she was a trooper, and but it's it's like traveling with a little kid,
Sure.
when you have someone that old, you got to manage everything. But yeah,
Yeah.
it worked out much, much better, or less, let me say this, less problematic
Yeah.
than I thought. So,
Well, that's the key. The mindset is everything, right?
it is. Yeah. She was great. Like we finally got, I just bought her one of these fancy 3-wheeled walkers to take to New York City. And she wasn't very happy. She's like, no, I'm not using that. And I said, well, if you want to come as we walk around the city, you should try this. And she fell in love with it. And she walked 2.3 miles in Central Park. And I told her, I tracked her on her phone. I said, you haven't walked 2.3 miles in a decade. So the walker, she felt so much more comfortable because from a balance standpoint,
sure,
that her breathing was much better. And I said, because when you're kind of stumbling around, you're so paranoid that you're kind of breathing a little faster. And
there's a stress reaction.
Yeah,
there.
it was shocking. It was wonderful. Yeah, but
that's amazing.
It was cool.
Oh,
great trip.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. I traveled with members of our population at the other end of the age spectrum. I was down in Disney World actually both ends. My father-in-law's 80th birthday, he decided he wanted to take the whole family to Disney World, which included 3 children, 3 of his grandchildren under the age of 5.
Wow.
And so, but going into this, we knew that we had to set mindset. We knew that we couldn't expect it to be what Disney World would be if it was just my wife and I, or just my wife and my son and I, who my son is in his 20s. Like, we were going to be not only coordinating with 9 additional people on top of the 3 of us, but people with very different expectations and pacing and drive and all of that. And
do you just, I imagine when you're with that group, you just kind of go with the flow because you're not going to.
Correct.
Go. Okay. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. We set our expectations much lower than we needed to, but again, there's value in that.
Yes, I agree.
As you just pointed out. And, but we did plan one additional day there where it was just the 3 of us. They wanted to make sure we made it to Galaxy's Edge. We're all Star Wars fans, they have this whole Star Wars dude.
Really nice.
If you are a Star Wars fan or an Avatar fan, they have an Avatar world at Animal Kingdom and a Galaxy's Edge Star Wars world at Hollywood Studios. It's like you're there.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
Not just the rides, but just the whole environment. Really, really well done. But we knew, and that one great part for me about this that was sort of a silver lining, but an extremely valuable silver lining, was that the family went down on Friday night. I did not fly down until early Sunday morning because I had some gigs that had been scheduled before this somewhat last-minute trip was kind of pulled together.
Okay.
So I made it down after they had a full day in the park to sort of figure out what it was like doing this with the family and how there were moments where everybody sort of split off, like when the young kids, when it became their nap time and they were going back to the hotel. That's when my wife and son and maybe, 2 or 3 other people would go off and do some big kid rides and things like that, which was fine. And they realized on the first day that waiting in line sucks.
Yes.
I know this is self-evident, but there is a thing now at Disney World. They have changed it, and it's called Lightning Lane. Now,
it used to be like Fast Pass or something?
There was similar? Fast Pass. There was, Fast Pass was free. You just had to go to the ride and get a ticket for a certain time or whatever. This Lightning Lane, you pay for. Now, we were paying about $15 per person per day to get this. There was a Lightning Lane multi-pass. That price changes depending on whether the park is really busy or not. At this time of year, it's far less busy than it is in, say, July and August. So I think it was probably $25 per person per day to do. But the way it works is you can book 3 rides in advance at any given time, and you do it all on your phone.
Nice.
So you don't even have to be in the park to book the ride.
Oh, okay.
Right? You can plan ahead, and
yep.
if you're park hopping, you can do all of that. And once you book time slots, right? So you get there and it's like, okay, this is the slot I was able to get. As soon as you check in for the ride, you've now that pass is now freely available to you to book something else.
Oh, okay.
Correct. And so and again, this is the great part, and I say that this segment is the value of teaching others to use their business brains. The value to me of teaching others to use their business brains is by the time I got there, my wife and my son had sussed this all out.
Yeah,
I was
awesome.
the passenger prince, man.
Yeah, that's
I just
great.
showed up and they're like, okay, here's what we've got. Here's what we're doing. And I was like, okay, I'm happy to be here. You know, like, good to go.
Awesome.
And it's funny because, and so we were able to do every single ride that we wanted to do at least once, if not more than once. And on Tuesday, which was the day that we had by ourselves, we actually were able to do 3 parks in one day.
Wow.
It was a long day.
Yeah, sure.
But we managed the transportation the right way, so we were never kind of driving ourselves nuts waiting for buses. We never waited in a single line for a ride. We put on 27,000 steps or something. Like, you know, obviously,
you gotta hustle.
You got to hustle. But we never were running anywhere. We were never rushed. It was all a very relaxed thing. And it was because of this lightning lane allowing us to really plan things. Well, I say us. It was the royal us. It was allowing them to really plan things for the 3 of us. And we were doing it the whole time. They didn't do them the first day. By the time I got there, like I said, they had just given up. And I say given up because they didn't. The initial thought was, well, we don't need to pay for the lightning lane. We can just kind of do this on our own.
Right.
And the reality was, well, if you look at the price that you are, the all-in price that you are paying to be there, so the time away from, your work, your life, whatever that is. So that's one. The flights down, the hotels, the passes for the parks that you're paying for each day. $15 per person is a rounding error.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to get so much more value if you broke it down. Like, let's say you're going for attractions, whether it's a ride or a world or whatever you're going
events,
into.
Whatever
events.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say you measure the value in the number. So if that extra $15 gets you into 10 more things that you otherwise wouldn't do, and you're absolutely right, man. Waiting in line is just such a waste of time. There's always a price worth paying to get out of that line.
Oh, I agree. And we learned this as a family when we planned, and this was 10 years ago, maybe more. We planned a trip to Europe. And as with every trip, your time in whatever place you are is limited.
Yes.
Like that is usually predefined, but regardless, it's a fixed amount of time and it costs you money to be there. And waiting in line, unless your vacation experience is such that you want to be waiting in line, skip the line. Pay to skip. And we did that. Lisa, when we were trying to get into the Eiffel Tower, she was planning it ahead and she's like, there's people say the lines are 3 or 4 hours long. I'm like, oh man, I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's
and she's like, wait, I found this thing and it'll cost us like $75 for the family to do this skip the line tour of the Eiffel Tower. She's like, and it was like, okay, that like maybe it was $100 for the family or something. I mean, it was enough money that it was like, okay, well, $100 can be spent on lots of different things.
Sure.
But I'm like, think about those 4 hours. We get to maximize our time there. We pay either in time, waiting in line, downtime, or we pay in cash.
Yeah, exactly.
And I knew if I were there, I would have lobbied for the lightning lane passes right away. But the best part was that my family was using their business brains before they ever even talked with me. And it was like, oh, this is a huge win. Huge. You've already solved these problems.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
That business brain is this, concept of always solving problems. That's just the way it is.
Yes.
I just, posted this on, fall in love with problem solving and you're unstoppable, right? It's just, don't complain about it. That is your job. No problems, no business. So it's constantly looking at it like, okay, today we're going to get up. What problems are we solving? Today we're solving for waiting in line because there's just doesn't make any sense. And Dave's coming down for one day or whatever it is. A few days.
Less time.
Less time. How do we maximize it?
And the whole family loved it.
Yeah,
like, they were all in.
Yeah.
It's like, there was nothing about this trip that was economically sound.
No, of course
we're
not.
bringing 12 people to Disney World. We were bringing 12 people to Disney World with 45 days notice. So we we overpaid
for everything. Yes.
For everything. Great.
Okay. That's
correct.
That's what you're getting. You had somebody, an older person that wanted to go with everybody. That's just the way it works. You go.
That's the way it was.
Yeah.
He was like, I want to bring the family to Disney World for my 80th birthday.
When I took my kids and a friend, we took our kids to the NFL experience when the Super Bowl was out here.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to spend the crazy, outrageous, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for a Super Bowl ticket. My kid is crazy 49er fan, and they were little at that time. But I said, hey, let's do this NFL experience. It's all this great stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It was amazing. During checkout, I saw this just small little line that said VIP experience $20. And I said, well, I'm a VIP.
For $20, I can be a VIP too.
Yeah, so I clicked this $20 thing thinking, whatever, we'll get some little, package or something for the kids and everything's great. It was amazing. They got every event we went to when there was a very long line, autographs, catch with players, all this stuff. They would see your VIP pass and walk you up to the exit where people were leaving this event and walk you right on. And everybody was looking at me like, what the heck? And I was just like, hey, it was $20. Why didn't you do it?
You can do this.
Why didn't you do it? It was great.
That's the thing. These lightning lane passes, I'm curious to see how it evolves at Disney World because they just rolled this out, I think July, maybe June. So it's not very old. And prior to this, there's always been pay for a concierge to a tune of about $5,000 a day. But but otherwise, it was all free. You just had to manage it on your own.
Yeah.
And now it's for pay. And so a lot of Disney regulars, I'll say, are upset about this. And there's an emotional distancing from, I'm not going to buy into that. Forget that.
I think an emotional distancing from Disney is probably a good idea for those people.
Yeah.
in general. Just in general.
But like the people that are going there are a lot of the sort of, again, the Disney regulars are not buying these lightning lanes yet because they're against it in principle.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to get over that. Or don't. I'm fine if you don't want to. But if you're a listener to this show, I am telling you, I had no issues with the principle going in because I don't go to Disney often.
Yes.
It had been 10 years or something. And so it made perfect sense to us to pay for these lightning passes. We had already paid for the lightning passes for the final day because we knew we wanted to pack everything in.
Yeah.
And then we just wound up paying for them for every other day too, which was fine. Yeah,
that's great. I'm glad you had a great time.
It worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I like a few days, maybe before you left, but I think it was before we left on your trip. I uploaded there was a new, I don't know how new it is, but Google has an AI called Notebook LM.
Yes.
And I uploaded, so I was curious of what it does. And basically, one of the things it does, you could upload a text to it, and it creates, a Q&A, so you can ask questions to your text, or it'll do all this kind of stuff, which is cool. But the other thing that it does is it will create a kind of in a podcast format, a couple of AI voices talking about the text that you upload. So I was like, this is interesting. So I uploaded my book, eBay Unlocked, just to see. I was like, it's been out for a few years.
Of course.
I'll donate it to the AI gods. And it came back.
They already have it, Shannon.
I'm sure you're right. And it came back with this, what I thought was an incredible conversation. I posted it on X. I learned how I had to turn it. I used audiogram to make it into an MP4 or whatever. From a WAV file. But Dave, rightly so, had some critique on it and this kind of stuff. But the point is, what was interesting is it pulled out highlights from my book that some things I had forgot and terms that I had used. I was very interesting. And one of those terms was this thing I call lifetime SEO.
Okay.
And so in the context of the book about eBay, the way I was using it is even when an item sells or when you end a listing, let's say it sells on another platform, all of the data that's there stays there forever or until, eBay purges whatever, but I don't think they do. But your listings are there, let's just say for years, but we'll call it lifetime.
Okay.
And that continues to help drive traffic to your business and your other listings because eBay is constantly, and these other marketplaces, Poshmark, they're spending millions of dollars on SEO to get your listings to come up in search results off platform.
Yep.
So the concept in the book is that, don't delete anything. Don't ever delete a listing. Just end it. Okay, end it. End this thing. And so you build up over time this big library that helps your search engine optimization for the rest of your business. And it doesn't matter what marketplace you're on. Poshmark does the same thing, everything. But as I listened to this, I also started thinking this term lifetime SEO, it really can be much broader in that everything we create, whether it's listings I create on eBay, this podcast, posts on social media, we are creating this lifetime SEO for ourselves, for our brand, whether it's your company responding to a negative review on Yelp or Google on how you respond. Everything you put online is part of your lifetime SEO package. So you need to think of in this context of whatever I write is going to be there forever. Whatever you write.
Well, I've always said the internet's like Las Vegas. Whatever happens there stays there forever.
Yeah. So the comments you make on a podcast, the interview you do, a blog post that you upload, something you post on X or Facebook or whatever, just think about that narrative that you're creating. I mean, you want to be authentic and natural. I think you're more successful if you're that way.
Sure.
But you also need to think about what you're sharing and maybe more importantly, how you share it. We just did an episode on how you present something is just as important on what you present.
Yes.
So how you present and the framework, like Dave could have easily posted a big negative diatribe about the nightmare lines at Disney, and now they had to squeeze him for another $15. But instead, he uses a framework of, man, this was so great because my family was using their business brain to realize that $15 was an incredible investment in buying back our time.
And making the money, the sunk cost that we had already done,
right.
We gave more value to our sunk cost. Way more valuable. Way more valuable.
Yeah. So I just thought, I've started to think more, the books I've published, all these shows, we got 587 episodes.
Yeah.
We've got all this stuff. And maybe it's because I'm getting older and start thinking about, I don't know, your legacy or what your, all this stuff that you do. But I just think it's something to think about. It's something to make a note of, that you're constantly building your lifetime SEO. And what do you want that to say? What do you want people to search for that you're going to come up and be the search result? What terms do you want to be associated with? Optimism, quality, value, or complaints and negativity, and whatever. It's your choice.
Yeah,
you get to decide and build out your lifetime SEO. So
I like this. It's something we're all doing.
Yep.
Anyway, it's good to be intentional about it. I love it, man.
Yeah. I find that when I attach these terms to it, like whether you're talking about mistakes or tuition, or did list, lifetime SEO, it helps me keeping them front of mind and being conscious about it to remember it. So
yeah,
cool.
I like it.
Awesome.
That's great. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. One episode this week, as we said. So we will see you next week for 2 episodes.
Back to our regularly scheduled podcast.
That's right. Let us know how you're using your big business brain or how you need help using your business brain at feedback@businessbrain.show. We'd love to hear from you. And have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend, folks. Yeah.
Have fun. Keep on living that charmed life. Beat the system. And we'll see you next week. And we're out. Hey, before we go, I want to show you and everybody that's streaming here, because we are only doing 1 episode.
Yeah.
One of my business partners told me about FreePick today.
FreePick. Okay.
Yeah, their engine, their AI image generation engine. We all know about ChatGPTs, right?
FreePick.
Okay.
What's the URL?
FREEPIK.com. So I made some images earlier today, but like these look like real people. Oh. I gave it the notes for this episode while we were recording this episode. Oh. And I told it, with 2 hosts, Shannon, Jean, and Dave Hamilton. Now you can see on this first image, it assumed that Shannon was a woman. Yep.
Yes.
But look at how real these people are. They're sitting there podcasting. Yeah. Look at, I put in the show notes, give yourself permission to be VIP. It made it into a poster on the wall with reflection. It didn't get the spelling wrong.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Right?
I like it.
Then there's this one. I don't know about this ubness. So it did get the spelling.
Did the spelling wrong a little bit.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But it's got the calendar over there and 2 people. Then, these are things I made before for my music podcast. Yep.
That's very
But
cool.
then I told it, I changed the exact same prompt, and I said, with Shannon, Jean, and Dave Hamilton, both white men, just to put this together. So here you go. Oh. Now that this isn't us, but boy howdy,
that's pretty cool.
And then this one,
I like it. I mean, it does look super photorealistic.
Super realistic.
Yeah.
And this is using their Flux engine. There is one called the Mystic engine that I haven't tried yet. It takes a little longer.
Okay.
And
I'll try it. Is it a well, then their name says free pick.
Yeah, it's free. It's free-ish.
Yes.
You can use what I've been doing here today is all for free.
Got it.
And then you can pay $20 a month to get a bunch more credits.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is probably worth it. Like, I think I'm probably going to buy a membership to this just for podcast images.
Yeah, I'm
my goodness.
And I'll try it out for this content for this episode
for this episode.
Yeah.
Just make sure the mistake I made was not choosing the size. Choose either 4x3 or 16x9 so that you don't get the tall version.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. I always love new tools, man.
I know.
I love it.
It's amazing.
I think, we could do a whole episode about
We should include this in an upcoming episode because we need to do more AI and we need to teach people.
There's a lot to be said. I know people are nervous about their jobs, whatever. Quite frankly, the longshoreman strike bothers me more than the AI stuff.
For sure.
But I'm not a creative, so I get it if you're concerned. But I think as a creative, there's ways to make this work for you. So we'll talk about that. Maybe next week we can do one of those episodes.
All right. I'll pop it in there. But
thank you for joining us today, people. We appreciate
you
hanging out in the stream, over 100 of you. And this episode will come out tomorrow on all your favorite podcast apps. We'll see you next week.
Later, folks. Thanks.